Welcome to part 2 of the video explaining how to track video-based ultrasound data. In the previous video we had just set the range in which we can search for the mandible. So essentially we're going to be looking in this sort of area here for the base of the mandible shadow. Now once we've tracked the mandible, what we're able to do is to trim the tongue spline according to the position of the mandible. So if the mandible's here, we can trim all the points to the left of this to make sure they have a confidence of 0. And this will allow us to do some further processing and to do comparison between the tracked tongue spline and the hand-labelled golden standard. There's an option to trim an extra amount, and I'd recommend that in this case that you do. I would trim an extra maybe 15 degrees off the tongue spline, so we'll increase this enhance mode up to 15. Okay, the tracking width here is just given the previous position of the mandible spline, how much in either direction can it find the new spline position. 10% is a reasonable value in this case. Okay, so we'll move on to batch processing. Now to do that we need to load in the template. So if we move to the template tab and the batch load button, you'll see that we have the template for this data. Now this needs to be in the application folder, the file that contains this template. Okay, we want to load all of the splines within this template. So we move on to the batch tab. So in this case we want to choose all of the recordings. So if we change the filter, move to the recording tab and select all recordings. Here now we've selected all 80 of the video recordings, and move to the processed batch tab. Here you can see that the method that's going to be used is tracking. That was set in the fan splines tab. The template is going to be this Russian Haskins template that we've just selected. Then it's going to load these splines. I recommend not using best fit for the first frame. Instead it will use the template for the first frame. And then we're going to continue to crop. Now you can uncheck the hide if you like, but since the hide doesn't exist, it won't track it anyway. And now all that remains to do is press the process button. And you can see it's moving through the frames and showing you the tracking as it's doing it. Now the fact that it's showing you this takes some processor time. So in order to move through the tracking process faster, once you're happy that it's behaving reasonably well, then if you uncheck the monitor progress button, it will stop plotting the progress, and you can see that it moves through the recordings much more quickly. And there I'll end this tutorial.